The new Teppen expansion, Haunted by Memories, has arrived, and in this video, I'm going to introduce you to the new hero, Zero, some of the new legendary cards, and even take a look at some of the day one decks from yesterday that have already started popping up utilizing Zero and some of the exciting new Haunted by Memories cards.
Hey, buddy, watch this.
That's right. So first up here is the new hero, Zero. I will never get sick of that rhyme. Coming, of course, from the Mega Man X universe, and really one of the most famous characters in said Mega Man lore. So excited to see him added to the game as a new purple element hero. And of course, coming with Zero are some hero arts you can use to build your deck around, like fight against inner demons. His first hero art, which comes in at 14 AP, which can do one of two things: add a Maverick card to your hand, which is a really cheap and hyper efficient removal action card, coming in at only 1 MP, but still destroying a random enemy unit with an MP cost of 6 or less. Now that is random, so it can backfire, but particularly if your opponent's building into one thing and you can resolve the other ones easily, that can be a great removal option despite that randomness if you can force it onto that desired target. Alternatively, you can also get Maverick Hunter, another 1 AP action card, but this one gives a nice big buff of +2/+4 to a targeted friendly unit. So although this hero art is random and a little bit left up to chance, like maybe you need removal, but instead you're getting a buff instead, that might be unfortunate. Nonetheless, both of them are very efficient and high output kinds of plays. So nonetheless, this hero art can still make some big plays. Up next, we also have the second hero art here, Rakahua. I'm probably pronouncing that so poorly, but nonetheless, a pretty cool hero art here coming in at 16 AP. And this one's using the new memory mechanic, which of course, as we talked about in our previous video, basically improves cards over time as you use more and more action cards. So at a base level, this hero art deals 4 damage split among enemy units, but if you have used 4 action cards throughout the course of the battle, that memory 4 trigger, then it will deal 7. If you get up to 10, then it will deal 12. And of course, dealing 12 across all enemy units can be a board clear in many cases, or again, if you can file that down to a single enemy unit, you can use it as a great single target removal option as well. And then finally here, the third hero arts, Tin Kuha, coming in at 18 AP, and this one gives a friendly unit +2 attack and combo, which can be a great finisher or just something to help you to remove a target if you're really desperate, kill that blocker with ease, or instead perhaps set up a really nice combo finisher where you pump out a big damage hit, often in combination with other buffs on your given unit on the field, because, you know, doubling that damage and adding some attack can really scale nicely as a good finishing tool to build some decks around. So all in all here, 3 hero arts that are pretty unique and pretty fun and can allow you to build Zero in a lot of different ways, which is already happening. People are doing that, as we're going to talk about later in this video. Some pretty cool decks coming together across a couple of these hero arts. So I also wanted to highlight some of the legendary cards coming to Teppen with Haunted by Memories, and I thought specifically let's take a look at some purple cards, given that is Zero's color. And for instance, here we have a new legendary 7 MP unit card featuring Zero himself. It's Hidden Threat Zero. It's got agility at a base level. It's also got a couple memory upgrades here. The first memory is of 7, so you got to get those 7 action cards down. And then it will return the unit in front to the X pocket if its MP cost is 6 or less. So essentially an effect here that allows you to take a really big swing on the board, developing some stats of your own while also just completely denying anything of your opponents that is, 6 MP or less, which in many cases is a lot of different units in the game. Also, if you get to memory 10, you will gain +2/+4. So essentially, you can make this unit even bigger if you get to that point in the game. So you might have to play this. Frankly, just at a base level, it's not a bad unit, right? Agility could still be cool in the right moments, but certainly getting it to memory 7 feels like a big time swing potential. And then memory 10, you get an even bigger stat load on board, which could really dominate your opponent because you're denying something really valuable of theirs while also developing something really threatening of your own. And that's a big time card, could build some big plays and certainly help you define a deck or win some games. So next up here, let's take a look at X Hunters, another new legendary card, this time an action card at 7 MP again. And we're going to take a look at this one in a little bit more detail later because we've got a new deck built around this card. But essentially, this one's got some really high memory totals, getting up to 15 to fully satisfy all of its conditions. But when you do, you get to fully load your board with 3 pretty reasonable units, and then also buff those units, which can set up some big time finishing potential if you structure your deck in the right way. But just developing that many stats simultaneously while maybe also locking down your opponent can really help you win some games. And then next up here, we have Maverick's Memories, a 2 MP action card for purple at the legendary level. It will destroy a friendly unit and negate an action card with an MP cost of 5 or less. So basically enabling you to counter anything perhaps really important that your opponent's doing if you're willing to sacrifice perhaps a smaller token unit in the process. Or if you get to memory 10, this becomes even more powerful because then it's just a 2 MP negate with no actual downside, which, given that you get 2 bonus MP in any given action phase, that can be a really powerful way to slow down some of your opponent's setup plays and do it affordably while still cycling through your deck, making this a nice flexible tool for certain kinds of negate or counter style decks to work nicely. So now I want to take a look at a couple new decks from Haunted by Memories that popular creators and talented players are already building, like this absolutely crazy one coming from Iowa the Boat, one of the most recognized, I think, Teppen creators out there. This deck is just absurd. He's calling it kind of his Exodia purple deck, and it uses the card X Hunters, which we already took a look at in combination with the card Ceasefire, you may know already as well, to basically set up this insane win condition where you just remove everything of your opponents, just deny, remove, completely control their resources, remove every unit they play, shut them down, and then finally, at the end of the game, once you've mostly exhausted them of resources, using all of your different removal cards and, of course, your hero art Rakahuha as well, then finally you can unleash X Hunters, and you'll have activated all of those different memory cards as well because you've stretched the game so far that you can actually fully satisfy the memory condition of X Hunters. You will load up the board with 3 powerful units, and then you will ceasefire your opponent's presumably empty board at that stage. You may need to use like one last removal card simultaneously, or your hero art to remove that kind of final piece of the puzzle. So ceasefire will lock them out of playing any units for 10 seconds, and your X Hunters will both load up your board and buff it so that you can just overwhelm them with agility, combo, etc., and burst them for a ton of damage all at once. And you might just need a little bit of chip damage throughout the course of the game to set that up as a killing blow, but they also just might be totally out of gas. So it's this kind of super control combo deck. And of course, you could satisfy it without removing all their stuff too if moments align themselves nicely. But this is a really crazy fun play style, and I would encourage you to at least check this deck out in action over there with Iowa the Boat if you want to see. I think his Twitter has some gameplay clips of it doing some pretty cool stuff. Otherwise, if you have these cards available, you want to try this one out, go for it and make some really, really cool big time plays. And the next up here, I have this really cool black-purple, super fast hybrid deck from Alarin in the Teppen community Discord. Apparently played this already to top 50, which of course way higher than I'll ever get. But it's utilizing here a lot of cheap units. You'll see some high pressure units. You can really get them moving. And then finally set up to just burst your opponent down with a card like Forbidden Fruit, which can buff and protect a unit. But then also the new card, and the new legendary, in fact, Bolt Reaver's Valor, a 2 MP action card for black, which at the cost of a little bit of life will give a friendly unit +3 attack at its base. But also, if you get to memory 7, then you will also give that unit flight and agility. So clearly something that's very hard to deal with. Between Forbidden Fruit and Bolt Reaver's Valor, you can set up these units that are almost impossible to kill for a lot of different decks, and then just overwhelm your opponent with the pressure of that unit via buffing it with lots and lots of different stats. So a cool, fast deck that could help you climb really quickly and create tons of pressure using both Zero and his new hero power, which also, of course, buffs your unit, but also some fun new legendary cards there, even in the black element as well. So all in all, so far, Haunted by Memory seems really, really enjoyable. Some great new characters, some really fun new cards. Zero as a hero is quite enjoyable as well. And of course, that means you should check it out. Open some packs, see what you get, and build yourself a cool little deck. Have some fun playing Teppen. That said, as always, there is a link to download Teppen in the description below. If you still haven't played it, it's totally free to get started. There's tons of rewards, as always, and I think you'll have a good time. It's a fast-paced, really rewarding game to play. That said, thanks much for joining me this time around. Good luck out there in Haunted by Memories, and until next time, Game on.